Hello, this is Melissa, your insurance exam queen here, and we are here on this channel to help make sure that you can pass your insurance exam with ease and confidence. Today in this video, we're going to break down a Kentucky health exam score sheet, which is one of the toughest exams out there. Kentucky does not make it easy on you. They create their own exam, whereas most other states will use a test provider like Pearson or Prometric. Kentucky keeps everything in-house. And so one of the reasons why it's hard is because all of all of the education companies like Excel, Kaplan, 80 Banker, they follow the outlines of the other states, and Kentucky kind of has their own thing going on. And it can make it a little bit difficult to make sure that you're studying the right information, that you know the right information. I have helped many Kentucky people pass the exam, so definitely check out my Gold Class Series package at insuranceexamqueen.com. It's one of the ways that you can learn the most common, most tested information. Make sure that you understand it so that you can go in and pass, because Kentucky makes it hard. And here's why they make it hard. So this is a score sheet from somebody who said, I need help. It was two separate pieces of paper. So, but these are all the chapters lined out. And what I did here is these are the number of the questions on the exam. So what this is saying is that 4 questions will come from common provisions and features. 4 will come from disability income. 4 will come from group. 2 will come from taxation. 4 Kentucky law. So this number here on this side represents how many questions on the exam each section is going to have. And in other states, provision is like 20 questions. And here they kind of broke it up, though. If you notice, there are required, let me make that a little fatter. There are required provisions, optional provisions, and then common provisions, which does help us a little bit in knowing that provisions is actually 10 provisions is 10 total questions. So it would be the best chapter to study with seeing, like I said, in other states, provision can make up 25% of the entire exam, 1/4 of the exam. And Kentucky breaks down each chapter so small. You're studying for like Kentucky law, there's 4 total questions, but you're studying like 30 pages worth of reading to learn those 4 questions. That's why it's so hard. Kentucky basically makes it so that you have to know everything. Like, you've got to know everything about everything in order to be able to pass. So they make it really hard on you. So I try to make it a lot easier on you by teaching you the things you need to know, and making sure that you can remember them, retain them, and recall them when it's time to take and pass the exam. But I would say provisions, they broke up provisions 3 different ways: common, optional, and required. So that is the highest category total of 10 points. Because like when you watch my Gold Class series, you'll see I have 1 video on provisions, but I do break down Kentucky specifically the difference between a required and an optional. Other states don't even test the difference between optional and required. And then another thing is Kentucky will also require that you remember the number. So like each provision, they're like entire contract number 1, you need to remember what number 1 is. So not only do you have to remember the name of it, the definition of it, what it does, you also have to remember a number of it. And I created my Gold Class series so it's numbered so you can easily learn them. Okay, so to break down this score sheet to see what this person needs to do, so I'm going to switch colors here, get a completely different color. Let me make it a little thicker. Okay, so on this side is how many she got wrong or right. Right, so on here, she got a 25 out of 4 questions. That means that she got 1 out of 4 questions. That means that she's got 3 questions available to her coming from disability. And I would actually study disability insurance. That would be one of the chapters that I study. You notice the highest score that you can get in any one chapter is 4 points. So you're going to want to go after the 4 points, as opposed to, for instance, see how health taxation is 2 points. It's only 2 total questions on the exam. It's not going to give her a ton of bang for her buck to study taxation. She's going to get a lot better bang for her buck if she goes after the ones that have 4 total points in them. Disability is a lot easier to understand than a lot of the other concepts. I definitely cover disability inside of my Gold Class videos. And then there's also resources on my website. If you go to the resources tab, you will find that it says if you go to resources and then you can click on, there's a bunch of health notes, and I have a lot of disability notes. We also have Kahoot games that you can play that will test your memory on the things about disability and whatever other concepts we have. So I would go after disability. Now group, she got a 75, which means that she got 3 out of 4 questions correct. She's only got 1 point available there. That's if I mean, it's hard to know exactly what they're going to test you on. Of all the things to recommend to study, I may tell her to review group notes again, or maybe watch the group video again if she's got my gold class video, but I wouldn't tell her to hardcore study it, but I do want her to maintain her knowledge. So I want her to keep her at a 3 out of 4 and maybe get that one other point. And then we have health insurance providers. That's a 25. This is going to be, actually, let me double check what they mean by that. Okay, so I wanted to make sure that I was on the same page because they have, like I said, Kentucky has their own breakdown, and so their chapter titles are different. But what they mean for health insurance providers is actually things like stock versus mutual, domestic foreign alien. These are all things that I cover in my videos. Knowing what an HMO is versus a PPO. HMO is a in-network only. PPO can be out of network or in network. It does both. So that's going to be 4 questions. I would definitely study that one. She got 1 out of 4. Oops. She got 1 out of 4, which means she's got 3 points available there. So 3 points there, 3 points there. I would go after those. With health insurance taxation, she got 50, which means she got 1 out of 2, which means there's only 1 more point available. Not really worth her time because health insurance is difficult to study. Kentucky law, she got 25, which means she's got 1 out of 4, which means there's 3 points available. If she can go after Kentucky law, it can be a little bit difficult sometimes with the law chapters because it's a lot of memorization, a lot of different, like how long is your license good for? How many hours of continuing education? Sometimes they got a lot of fees and fines in there. They also talk about the Department of Insurance, what the commissioner does, unfair trade practices, stuff like that. I have a great video in any of my class series that will explain all the common things that you need to study and memorize. But then you have to look specifically at your state law text to know exactly what those numbers are. So if she can go after those 3 points, I would recommend it. Long-term care, she knocked it out of the park. She got 100, which means she answered all of that correctly. That's awesome. Medical expense insurance, she got 75, which means she's got 3 out of 4. She's got 1 point there. Not super important to go after, but she could. And let me see, medical expense insurance. I'm looking at the Kentucky outline right now, which, by the way, if you want to look at the Kentucky outline, it's available on my Facebook group. So if you go into my study Facebook group, you can, medical expenses, like knowing the difference between basic insurance, hospital, surgical. This is basic medical. Knowing the difference about major medical, how major medical covers everything. Basic medical is very rigid and strict. So that would be coming from that chapter. It would also be about knowing deductibles and things like that. So she did really well. Since that covers a lot of information, I would say don't worry. Again, just like group, I would say maintain your knowledge, but don't try to study it harder. You kind of got it on lock. Her next one, optional uniform provisions, she got 0, which means she's got 3 points available there. I would go after optional provisions. And again, I make it a lot easier to study the difference between optional and required in the student notes that I have in my gold health section. Required provisions, she got 75, which means she's got 1 point available there. I would still study provisions in general because, again, she's got, oh, we missed this up here. She's got 1 out of 4. She's got 3 points available there. So common provisions, optional and required total make up 10 questions. I would go after studying all provisions to make sure I can keep that knowledge strong. Then under social insurance, she's got a 75, which means she's got 1 point available there. Again, I would just keep my knowledge strong. I wouldn't go after and study it. Special types of health insurance policies. What do they have under special types of health insurance policies? Let's see. And again, go to my, it's dental and limited policy. So dental is like knowing the difference between, like, what are some of the basic coverages. Dental is a big one. Is dental has to be preventative care, where medical HMOs are preventative care, but on the whole, medical insurance doesn't go to find a problem before a problem shows up. Dental does. Dental will look to see if there's an issue in your mouth before you have an issue. And that's one of the key unique features about dental. Then they also have limited policies under that chapter, like dread disease, travel accident, hospital income. One big thing about hospital income is knowing that you get that money as long as you're stuck in the hospital. It doesn't matter what type of illness it's for or whatever. It's every day that you're stuck in the hospital, you can get a certain amount of money, and that's the hospital income coverage. So I would go, she's special. Oh, that's what we're talking about. Special. She's got 0 there, which means she's got 3 points available there. So I would go after that one. The application and underwriting, she's got 75, which means she's got 1 point. Keep my knowledge, but I wouldn't try and study it super hard. Types of health insurance policies, she's got 2 points available there. And types of health insurance policies is going to be, let me see what they have specifically under that. This is what I would call health basics. So when you're studying my gold class series package, you see health basics. That's what types of health insurance policy is. It's about understanding the contract, like what is agreement, consideration, competent party, stuff like that. Also just some definition of what is an accident. An accident is an unexpected, unintended injury. Knowing the difference between capital sum, principal sum, that's going to come from the AD&D policy. So I cover that in my health basics chapter. So I'd go after that. So she's got, if she tackles the chapters with 3 points, that's 3, 6, 9, 12, 16. Not, that doesn't seem right. I did it wrong. 1, 2, 3, 3, 6, 9, 12, 13, 14, 15. There we go. 15. You see, I'm not a math person, but there's plenty of points available in those chapters to help her get to the score that she needs. So again, what I'm doing is I'm looking, I took how many questions come from each category, which again, you can find the Kentucky exam outline on my Facebook page. You can even just Google it. You can find it, but it's in my Facebook group if you're looking for it. And you can write down the score for each chapter, compare to see how you did and see where most points available are. Go after those chapters. And again, if you want to make sure you get a next time pass or a first time pass, my gold class series has a 90% first time pass rate. So this was a Kentucky health exam breakdown. I am sending you all the loves, all the vibes to pass your exam. Have an amazing day.